The series begins with the heroine who works as a cook in a restaurant, and her dream is to travel abroad to study cooking. She gets a job in a famous place so she can save up the money needed for the trip. At the same time, the hero is sitting with his girlfriend and tells her that their relationship has ended because he's returning to his country. She gets upset, pulls out a gun, and shoots at him, and he runs away from her in the hotel. He says, "I don't know if you really loved me or if you were just waiting for the chance to kill me." We go back to the heroine who lives in a shared house with her roommate. She comes back from work just as he's leaving for his job. He advises her to wake up early so she won't be late. She enters the house and finds no food and nothing else either. Only a note he left listing all the house chores she must do in exchange for not paying rent. She finishes all the housework, reviews the travel expenses, and realizes she only has a little left to save before she can go abroad. She's very happy but then feels hungry. Looking out the window, she sees the church and realizes they're giving food to the poor. She says, "Well, I'm poor too," and goes there to eat. At the church, a woman is praying, and next to her sits the hero, who we learn is her son. He sits down next to the heroine. When the prayer ends, the woman takes the hero aside and asks if he's going to see his father for the inheritance. She scolds him for his appearance, which isn't suitable for being in church. The heroine, still eating, overhears all of this. The hero sees her stuffing eggs into her pocket and gives her a lot of food so she won't tell anyone what she saw. The heroine then meets with Yoon, who will help her travel. She finds out she only has a small amount left to complete, and Yoon will handle the rest. We then see the heroine's mother calling her, but she doesn't answer. The heroine remembers when she stole money from her while she was asleep, just so she could pursue her dream. She sends her mother a message apologizing and promising to return the money multiplied once she fulfills her dream. Meanwhile, the hero's friends call him, wanting to celebrate, but he's annoyed because they only exploit him. He still meets them, and the heroine happens to be working at the same place serving food. She finds money on the floor, takes it, and the friends mock her. She gets upset, grabs the money, and leaves. Her roommate opens the door, bumping into the hero, who is annoyed she took the money, asking why she treats herself that way. Then one of the friend's sisters shows up and joins the party, clearly interested in the hero. He isn't comfortable with her. His friends turn off the lights, and he imagines a scene of theft, showing that he suffers nightmares about a friend who died and whom he couldn't save. He leaves after telling his friends he hates being around them. At the company where the heroine's roommate works, he presents an idea to improve their product, but the president says there's no budget. Later, the president goes to his office and finds the hero there. We learn the hero is his brother. He asks why he returned, and the hero says it's because of their grandfather's inheritance. Later, the hero calls his mother and tells her he met his brother and will wait for her outside the church because he's hungry. While there, he sees the heroine selling trinkets and assumes she'll do anything for money. That night, she and her roommate eat together, and she tells him about the movie Ratatouille. She says she wants to travel and cook like that. He gets upset that she'll leave, but she tells him to visit her. They hear about a company party and decide to work there too. The next day, at the party, her roommate worries about her because she hasn't slept. She tells him, "As long as they pay, I don't need sleep." The hero is also at the party with his brother, who asks him not to drink too much. The heroine, exhausted, tries to lean on him while pouring his drink. He pushes her, she falls and gets hurt, and angrily yells at him. Suddenly, he sees the girlfriend who had once tried to shoot him. He quickly drags the heroine with him and pretends she's his new girlfriend to make his ex jealous. The ex challenges the heroine, saying if she wins, she'll leave him alone. The hero proposes a drinking contest, and the heroine agrees in exchange for money. He promises to give her whatever she wants if she helps him. She wins the contest, but faints from drinking. The hero takes her to his hotel, takes her phone, and calls her roommate to pick her up. He shows him the money, saying it's her payment, and gives him his number so she can contact him. When she wakes, she looks for the money. Her roommate tells her she left it with the hero and asks what's going on between them. She gets upset, hits him, and denies everything. Then she receives a message from Yoon asking to meet. She gives Yoon the money she has and promises the rest later. Yoon hands her the ticket and tells her to send the required papers within 2 days. The heroine is happy and finishes all her work before leaving. Meanwhile, the hero's father and uncle go to claim the inheritance, but discover that the grandfather divided everything among his daughters, disinheriting the hero's father because he had abandoned his wife. The heroine packs her bags but can't reach Yoon. She discovers her phone is off and starts to suspect she was scammed. She calls her mother just to hear her voice without speaking. Then she visits the man who always found her work. Suddenly, a gang storms the place, attacking workers, and throws away her phone. The police arrive and arrest them all, including her. She cries, calling for the investigator, begging him to find her phone and track Yoon. He tells her she should have confirmed Yoon's story before giving her the money. She searches for Yoon at her workplace and is told Yoon resigned. She'd gone abroad to study. The address she's given is silent and empty. Tears come hot and sudden when the truth lands. The money she'd been saving, the little lifeline she'd trusted to help her friend stay, was accepted under loving words and then used to buy a ticket away. On the plane, Yoon leans against her boyfriend, smiling as the city shrinks beneath them. The heroine, stunned and hollow with grief, stumbles down to the riverbank, trembling at the edge as the weight of the betrayal threatens to pull her under. Her roommate is called by the police and finds her crying. She insists there was a monster in the water, recalling what she saw before jumping. He comforts her at the beach. She thanks him and says she won't give up on her dream, even if she has to start again. The hero's mother asks him not to leave, and she gives him a flash drive from his grandfather, telling him to promise he won't travel again. On the flash drive, the grandfather tells him about a house called Treasure House, leaving it to him and asking him to take care of it. The heroine finds her phone in the gang's place, with a message containing the hero's number. She calls, asking for her money, and he gives her the address of the treasure house. When he arrives, he's surprised it's really a house of treasures. She shows up, calls out, but he has headphones on. She shouts, startling him, and when she trips, he catches her, but she accidentally breaks his expensive watch. He angrily tells her she must pay for it, demanding gold in exchange. She protests, saying she'll only pay for repairs, even if it takes years. He warns her never to try fooling him and says she must always answer his calls from now on. She leaves upset, calling him evil. Back home, broke and desperate, she regrets everything. Meanwhile, the hero tells his mother his grandfather left him debts and old books. She remembers the lawyer giving her the flash drive but hiding another part of the inheritance. The hero starts reading the old books, wondering what to do. The heroine sadly looks at the clothes she had prepared for her trip, thinking about her debt to him. She decides she'll work multiple jobs to repay it. Her roommate invites her for dinner, but she goes to the church instead, crying. The hero's mother sees her and comforts her, shocked when she realizes who she stole her mother's money, and in the end, she was tricked and all her money was stolen. She holds herself together and tells herself that God will forgive her. As she is walking, she decides to enter a competition, and she wins eggs, and she becomes happy that God forgave her just like her mother forgave her. When the male lead's colleague finishes his work and is leaving, the male lead comes to his brother because he wants to get money from him. The female lead is waiting outside for her roommate, and she overhears them agreeing to have dinner. The male lead tells his brother that he's starving, really starving, so they go eat dinner together at the same place. He joins them with his brother, and the female lead's brother decides to take their house deed so he can get a loan. Their mother finds out, runs after him with a bat and says, "Take this, son." He gets scared, runs into the street, and calls the female lead's roommate. We learn they've been friends since they were young. They tell each other, "You're like my brother, and I'll see you in the village. God willing, I'll come live with you." The male lead then goes to stay at his brother's place. The next day, his brother talks to him and says he needs to depend on himself. The male lead feels that his brother is bothered by his presence and decides to leave. The female lead goes to eat at a restaurant, and the restaurant owner argues with a young man who didn't pay the bill. the female lead overhears him saying, "I don't have money, but I'll pay you back." She realizes he's a stranger in town and decides to pay the bill for him. He thanks her and tells her his name is Song. He takes her number and says, "You're my first friend here." As she is leaving, the male lead calls her and tells her she must come to him. He tells her she has to clean that whole house in return for the debt she owes. She starts tidying the place, and then the lizard woman shows up, which annoys the female lead. Later, when she leaves, she goes home to find her roommate has prepared everything for her. They sit down and eat together to cheer her up because she's upset and doesn't want to talk. Meanwhile, the female lead's mother and siblings sit together eating, and the mother is worried about her daughter, wishing she could check on her. The next day, we see the male lead sitting with his family, eating, and telling them he has decided to work. His family is happy for him, and he asks his mother for funding for his charity project. She says she's going to thank God and leaves. His father then says, "Oh, my wallet's empty. I forgot to tell you, didn't I?" When he asks his older brother, the brother says, "Of course, son, your project is a failure, so I won't invest in something doomed to fail." Later, they go to the market with their father, and the male lead still tries to convince his brother, who tells him, "I'll think about it later." The next day, they go to the company, where there's an event promoting their product. The male lead serves drinks and sees the female lead. He goes to talk to her. Then their friends meet Song, the guy from the restaurant. She tells them she invited him to eat. Song trips over a camera cable, and the male lead signals the female lead to watch out. He runs to save her, but he ends up getting hurt instead. The ambulance takes them, and at the hospital, he checks on her. The nurse says she is just exhausted. The female lead later leaves with her roommate, while the male lead returns to his brother's place. He takes advantage of the moment when his brother asks about his injured arm and shows concern. Finally, his brother decides to give him the money he wanted. He asks for his bank account number but says, "Don't think I'm giving it for free, dear. You'll pay me back in installments, and I'll also take your grandfather's house from you." The male lead gets upset because the amount is small and wonders what he will do with it. He calls the female lead and tells her to come. They go shopping together for furniture and supplies for the project. When the male lead tells his mother he's opening a bar, she gets angry, but his father supports him. The male lead plans to take his father's car and sell it. He prepares the place for the project and asks the female lead to work with him. She hesitates, but then says she'll be responsible for the kitchen since she's a cook. Later, the male lead meets the doctor and gets medicine, and we learn he is being treated for nightmares caused by his friend's death. Everyone decides to help him and volunteer in the kitchen. The company owner, however, treats him badly because she considers him responsible for her son's death. At the same time, her daughter actually likes the male lead and works at the company. She tells him one day while they are eating, "Why do you keep tolerating the way my mother treats you and continue working with her?" He goes to her office and remembers when her husband entrusted the company to her and to him. Meanwhile, the female lead goes to collect her wages, and the woman gives her the money but tells her not to come again because her daughter is getting married and needs more work. The female lead leaves upset and sees a picture of the Eiffel Tower on the street. She takes a photo next to it and sends it to her mother, making her believe she traveled abroad, comforting her. But she doesn't tell her the truth that she was tricked and all her money was stolen. When she returns, she tells her roommate. He asks if she's okay, and she says she causes trouble for everyone around her and apologizes to him because she caused him problems too. Later, when she goes to work at the male lead's place, she discovers he dyed his hair blue again. She cleans the place, then goes out to put up an advertisement for the bar. She comes back with her friend Song and asks the male lead to hire him too. The male lead agrees since she vouched for him. Then a girl named Lee comes in asking if they need more staff. She's skilled at making drinks, so the male lead hires her as well. They all agree on work schedules and leave, except the female lead, who stays to finish cleaning. The lizard woman calls the male lead, and he goes to her. She's with her friends and tells them they're going to get married. He doesn't respond and leaves. Whenever she tries that, he warns her not to do it again. The The next day, on his late friend's birthday, he goes to visit his grave. As he's leaving, his mother tells him not to come again. He walks away upset, remembering when his friend died and his mother told him he'd go to hell because he was the reason his friend died. Meanwhile, Song calls the female lead, telling her to hurry. She goes and finds his instruments ruined by the rain, so she helps him gather them and consoles him. She remembers the bar's opening and goes to prepare. The lizard woman shows up to ask about the male lead since it's his birthday, and she even brought him a gift. She asks the female lead about him, but she says she doesn't know. So, the lizard woman leaves the gift with her and goes. When the male lead returns, he's upset. He tells the female lead that once she finishes, she should leave. When she tries to comfort him, he treats her badly and insults her. She gets angry and leaves, saying, "I'm letting this go for now, but next time, be careful." On her way, she finds a cat, takes it with her, and remembers she left her bag at the male lead's place. She goes back to get it, and he asks her to stay because he's not feeling well. She gets angry at first, but then he apologizes. She feeds the cat, and he gives her clothes to wear instead of her wet ones. After she leaves, the electricity cuts out. He sees nightmares again, but once the lights come back, he calms down. When the female lead returns, her roommate asks whose clothes she's wearing, and she tells him she borrowed them from someone. Meanwhile, the female lead's brother sees job ads in the city where his sister went to work and says he must find a place to stay when he works there too. In the morning, the group gathers at the bar wearing their uniforms. They're happy to see the cat and play with it. When the male lead arrives, he tells them to get rid of the cat, and the female lead says if they want to keep the cat, she'll leave. So, he agrees to keep the cat in return for her forgiveness for his behavior yesterday. They discuss what food to offer customers and decide to make the best dishes so it will be a good start. At the company, the lizard woman tells the female lead's roommate that she is hiding something from him. When he asks what, she says, "Go ask her yourself." Customers actually start coming to the bar, and the male lead and his team are happy. They suggest special drinks, which the customers like. When the female lead sees him laughing with other girls, she feels jealous. His family also comes to the opening. His mother doesn't approve of the project but sees the female lead and remembers meeting her at the church. She greets her warmly and starts showing more care toward the male lead. They all begin singing at the celebration. The female lead's roommate goes to the lizard woman and asks what the female lead is hiding. She tells him that she works with the male lead at the bar. The male lead's brother goes to see how things are going. The male lead serves him a drink, but the brother refuses, saying he has to return to work. The coffee shop owner next door comes angrily, thinking the male lead opened a cafe to steal his customers. The male lead tells him, "No dear, it's not a cafe." The man says, "Oh, I misunderstood you, son." Fine, but I'll keep an eye on you. If you ever turn this into a cafe, I won't let it pass." After work, the male lead walks the female lead home. Her roommate sees them from the window. When she enters, he's upset that she hid from him that she was working with the male lead. She tries to cheer him up and make him laugh, but he yells at her and confesses his love for her. Then the door knocks. It's her brother. Her roommate hides because she told her family she had already traveled abroad. Her brother stays until she leaves. When her roommate asks why he came, he says, "I'll stay with you here." He is shocked. The female lead, tired from walking, reaches the male lead's place and falls asleep in the storage room. When she wakes up, she sees him coming down from his room. She hides so he won't see her, but when he leaves, she comes out only to find him waiting at the door. They are both surprised. She tells him, "I came early because I like working early, so I thought I'd clean a bit." Her roommate calls and tells her that her brother will keep staying with him, and since he already met her, he will give her things back. Then he hangs up and goes to meet the lizard woman. They agree to work together because they have a common interest. She tells him to invite the female lead to dinner and gives him a concert ticket. Back at the bar, it's empty, and the male lead is upset. The female lead tells him they can't work in the daytime. She goes out to feed the cat and meets Lee, who gives her a concert ticket to go with the male lead. Later, the group discusses ideas to attract customers, and Lee suggests discounts. The idea pleases the male lead, so they distribute discount coupons in the street. The coffee shop owner sees the female lead giving out coupons, gets angry, and tears them up. The female lead waits for her roommate, and he brings her bag. When he suggests she rent an apartment and that he will help with the rent, she refuses. When he asks if she was comfortable in his place, she says of course. Then she apologizes, saying she was a burden on him, just like her brother. Exactly. And when he asks her about her relationship with the hero, she gets flustered. So he gets upset and asks her where she's going to sleep now. She says she doesn't know, but she'll manage. He tells her she can rely on herself, and she jokes, "Easy for you to say, you left a lion behind." We see the mother of the hero's deceased friend taking her daughter to a restaurant, bringing a suitor for her. When the girl finds out, she storms off, leaving. The mother apologizes to the suitor and runs after her daughter, fighting with her, telling her she can't behave like this. The heroine then decides to stay in the hero's house. She sees him running out, so she hides. He was going to pick up the chameleon girl who was drunk. The heroine's colleague, while cleaning, finds the sheet of paper where she was calculating her travel costs. He remembers when she ran away from her mother and stole money, crying, and he brought her sweets to cheer her up. The heroine makes sweets for the hero now, trying to cheer him up too. She asks if he'd like to go with her to a music concert. That's when the chameleon girl arrives, bringing food. They all eat together, but she tries to feed the hero, and he pushes her hand away, telling her to stop being silly. The food falls on her, and when he goes to get tissues, she tells the heroine that she and the hero are dating. Later, the colleague and Song agree on something, and the heroine gets upset. She hides the tickets inside the hero's book. He finds them. The chameleon girl goes to the colleague and asks how things went, and he says the heroine isn't interested in him. He gives the ticket back. She calls the hero to go out, but he says he's tired, so she asks the colleague to go with her instead. The hero then invites the heroine to dinner, bringing the tickets she was looking for, and they watch the concert together. She's upset that he's doing this while supposedly being with another girl. He tells her she's out with her manager now, takes her to a French restaurant, and she happily tells him she wants to study cuisine in France. Meanwhile, the chameleon and the colleague go to the concert together. Each of them remembers past memories. On the way out, they're shocked to see the heroine with the hero. The chameleon accuses the heroine of stealing her man. The colleague stands up for her, demanding she apologize. The hero yells at him, takes the chameleon away, and tells her to apologize the next day. She begs him not to abandon her. The colleague warns the heroine that those people belong to a world completely different from theirs. She says she knows and leaves. Later, the hero finds her outside his house. When he asks why she's there, she confesses she likes him. He tells her not to love him. She walks away sadly, eating the sweets he once gave her. At the company, the chameleon overhears employees gossiping that she's had plastic surgery. She confronts them, claiming her beauty is natural, and leaves, bumping into the colleague who reminds her to apologize to the heroine. The heroine works at the bar, ignoring the hero. Friends notice the tension. She takes the trash out and finds a hungry man sleeping there, giving him food. Later, Song and Lee invite her to a concert. The colleague, at home, finds a letter from her brother listing his goals: to date a rich girl and live off her. He gets angry. The heroine prepares for Song's concert. The hero sees her leaving, honks but drives away. At the concert, Song sings, "The crowd is happy." The hero joins her, but during dancing she accidentally hurts his leg. Later, she tells him she shouldn't like him because the chameleon fits his world. Rich, daughter of a company owner. She, on the other hand, is just a poor cook who once tried to escape her life with stolen money and got scammed. She says her life is chaos. He tells her there's more to life, confessing he hates the night because of how it haunts him. She feels sorry for him, but embarrassed, leaves. She later meets her colleague, giving him a banana with a doodle on it. He asks if she's still working with the hero, despite what the chameleon told her. When she says work is separate, he gets angry, telling her if she were a man, he would have hit her. Then he admits he regrets not confessing his feelings. Meanwhile, the chameleon's mother scolds her for messing up with the suitor and tells her to move out on her own. The heroine sneaks back to the hero's storage room to sleep. He notices, plays with the cat, and realizes he likes her. The next day, Song considers selling his golden elephant to buy new instruments. Lee breaks a piece of it so they can sell. The chameleon's mother visits the hero's brother, begging him to keep the hero away from her daughter, blaming him for her son's death. Later, Song and Lee invite the heroine to dinner, but the hero stops her, saying the cat is sick. They buy supplies and a pillow for her. He tells her she can rest in the storage room anytime. At dinner, she learns Song is actually a prince who left his country because he couldn't sing there. Her brother sees her meeting her colleague. Shocked, he chases her, demanding why she lied about being in France. She cries, saying her money was stolen. He cries too, asking her to return home. She begs him not to tell their mother, promising to repay the money. Later, the hero learns the heroine has a cold, buys her medicine. Meanwhile, the chameleon lies to the hero's brother, saying she and the hero are dating. The hero brings the heroine a drink, confessing he loves her but can't be with her. She tries to leave, sad. He stops her, confessing he was the reason for his friend's death, telling her the whole story. She comforts him, insisting it wasn't his fault. Meanwhile, the colleague is devastated when she only sends him "thank you" and drinks with the chameleon. The hero lets the heroine sleep in a proper room instead of the storage, feeling relieved by her comfort. His mother visits, bringing food. He suddenly gets sick, rushed to the doctor, who diagnoses him with gastritis, warning him to avoid alcohol. The homeless man cooks sweets for them, impressing the hero, but he kicks him out. The heroine meets her colleague again, who confronts her, but the chameleon interrupts, insulting her, saying she's better suited for someone poor like him. The hero intervenes, declaring he and the heroine will marry, leaving the colleague shocked. The heroine later tells her colleague she only sees him as a friend and admits she loves the hero, saying she would die without him. She goes back to the hero, conflicted, remembering the chameleon's lies. He too spends the night sleeping in his car, upset. The next morning, she accuses him of still being with the chameleon, but he shocks her by saying he broke it off and now they can finally be together. We see her taking 3 little girls out of the place because they are still young, and all this while the owner of the cafe is secretly filming them from behind the trees. Then we go to the heroine, who is sitting happily with the hero while they're eating together. The chameleon shows up, and when she sees them, she is shocked. The heroine feels embarrassed and gets up quickly, but the hero holds her back and says, "You didn't do anything wrong." He then tells the chameleon that he loves the heroine and asks her not to come again without permission. So she leaves upset and calls the heroine's colleague, telling him that she is living with the hero. He gets angry, rushes to her, and goes inside upset. He tries to take the heroine, saying, "Let's go," but the hero blocks him and they start fighting. When the heroine tries to separate them, she ends up getting hit. They all rush to check on her. She later goes out to talk with her colleague and tells him she won't go with him. He says he won't leave her, then walks away. He takes her to his house, and she starts remembering her memories with him and how much he cared for her, which makes her sad. In the morning, he finds her asleep and food prepared for him in the fridge. When she goes to work, the hero takes her into the kitchen, angry because she's been staying at her colleague's place. Suddenly, the police arrive, and everyone is taken to the station. The officer shows them a video of someone filming little girls at their place and questions whether someone intentionally sent them. The officer takes all their names and easily lets them go, but the place is banned from opening for a certain time. After that, the hero takes the heroine to the beach. She craves octopus, and when they ask at the restaurant, the woman says it's sold out. The hero notices she's disappointed, so he tells her he's going to the bathroom but actually goes to ask at the restaurant. When he can't find any, someone tells him where he can fish for it. He returns with an octopus. The heroine asks him why he's soaking wet, and he replies, "Soaking wet? That's sweat." "Oh, you're so romantic." The heroine starts preparing dishes that the old man, who she always gives food to, taught her. We see him with her in the kitchen too, making sweets. The food impresses the customers very much. We then see the heroine's brother arrive at the hero's house. He asks Song about the owner, and Song tells him he's inside. He goes in and sits with him, and the hero realizes he is the heroine's brother who came to check on her work. When the heroine sees him, she takes him outside and begs him not to come back there again. He leaves. Meanwhile, the chameleon decides to make a plan to damage the hero's car. She causes an accident, and when the hero finds out, he rushes to the hospital. The heroine sees him leaving and asks, "Where are you going?" He says he won't be long. When he arrives at the hospital, the chameleon's mother slaps him, saying, "Wasn't it enough that you killed my son? Do you want to kill my daughter too?" When the chameleon wakes up, she tells her mother she did this because her father and brother left her, and even the hero left her, so she had no one. That's why she stayed with him, and she cries. The hero goes out and sits next to her mother, apologizing. She tells him that he must get engaged to her daughter so she won't hurt herself again. Even though she was against the idea before, she now agrees for her daughter's sake. We go to Song, who is walking with his lover, when suddenly people appear wanting to take him back to his village. She tries to defend him, but one of them tells her they are returning the prince and she shouldn't worry about him. We go to the heroine, who keeps calling the hero, but he doesn't answer. He is with his brother, telling him everything that happened. His brother tells him this is his life, and he has to choose what he sees fit. The heroine talks with her friend about what happened with Song and says they won't be able to reopen the place as long as they're missing. In the morning, at the hospital, the hero listens to the heroine's voicemails. The chameleon leaves her room and tells him she wants to walk in the fresh air. He takes her to the garden and she asks him to get engaged. The hero is shocked by her request, tells her it's not possible, but she interrupts, saying her mother agreed and told her to have the engagement first, then marriage later. The hero falls silent, not knowing how to respond. We return to the heroine, who buys a glowing owl for the hero and goes to find him sitting in his room. She places the owl in front of him, saying, "This is a gift. You can turn it on and off while keeping the rest of the lights off, so you won't be scared of the dark." She notices he's silent and asks what happened. He tells her the chameleon hurt herself because of him and had an accident. He apologizes and says he must get engaged to her and break up with the heroine. She is shocked, asks about their relationship, then hugs him, saying they can't separate. He removes her hands, and the heroine breaks down. She packs her clothes into a suitcase and goes downstairs, telling the hero she's leaving. He doesn't answer. She leaves, and Lee sees her, asking where she's going. She says she has nowhere to go. Lee takes her home, and they sit drinking and sharing their stories. She tells her why she divorced, that unfortunately she got cancer, and her husband cheated on her and abandoned her because of it. They reconcile and both cry together. Afterward, Lee goes to the bar sitting there. When the heroine comes out of the kitchen, she tells her the hero probably won't come back tonight. Then the heroine gets a call from Song. She and Lee go to a big hotel, and Lee says Song asked them to come to the royal suite. When they enter, the woman who was chasing after him appears and asks them to show respect to the prince. When he enters, he tells them to sit and brings them food. Lee is surprised. He shows her many toys he bought for her. Later, we see Lee and the heroine returning in a car full of stuffed animals. The heroine asks Lee about her relationship with Song. Lee says when they were trapped in the shop, he told her he liked her. She told him about her husband and the reason for her divorce, and since then he has loved her. The heroine praises her, saying, "Don't talk like that about yourself. You are really beautiful." Lee is happy with her words. The doctor visits the hero, who is sitting looking at pictures of the heroine. The doctor tells him that her presence made a difference in his life because when she was with him, he was fine and didn't take medicine. He advises him to hold on to her. The hero thinks about his words. His mother comes in the morning while he is sleeping, scolding him. She tells him the doctor told her everything, and she asks him to leave the chameleon, saying he has done enough for them and must now care for himself. but he tells her he will marry the chameleon and leaves. His mother goes to the chameleon's mother to stop the marriage. There, the chameleon's mother tells her she allowed the engagement because she fears for her daughter and she can't refuse now. We go to the heroine, who is shocked to see her mother in front of her. Her mother takes her away. The heroine begs her to let her stay, promising to make it up to her, but her mother refuses. She remembers her father, who died because of debts, and says she won't allow her daughter to work in a place like that. The chameleon is sitting with her friends. One of them asks how she can marry the hero when he was the reason her brother died. The hero is there and ends up fighting with him. She takes him away, and later, while they are in bed, he starts having nightmares. She quickly turns on the light when he begs her, and he calms down and sleeps. We see the heroine and her siblings sitting on the ground, begging their mother to let them go this time. The colleague arrives, reassures her, and she thanks him for comforting her siblings. He tells her it's late and suggests they stay the night and leave in the morning. He takes the younger brothers with him. When their mother sleeps, the heroine calls the hero and tells him what happened. She tells him if he asked her to stay, she would, and she won't leave. She knows what he did was against his will, but she says she'll keep loving him. He tells her not to love him because he's worthless, then hangs up. She cries heavily. After that, we see she really did return to the village. She is sitting in her mother's restaurant, helping out, looking sad. She later goes to visit her father's grave, telling him she misses him and crying, saying she also misses the hero. The hero, meanwhile, is with the chameleon in a clothing store, but his mind is filled with memories of the heroine. In the morning, the heroine's brother goes to the hero and tells him their mother brought a groom for her and insists on him. The hero calls her while she's in the kitchen. She answers, and he asks, "Why did you leave the cat without taking it?" She says, "Are you calling me just to say I left the cat? Okay, dear, I'll come and take it." Then he asks about the groom, clearly upset, and tells her he'll send money as a wedding gift. She starts crying, saying he hurts her more than before. She says, "I was just sitting here wanting to hear your voice," and yells at him not to call her again. Her mother sees her crying and feels sad for her. Later, her mother takes her shopping and buys her clothes. The heroine goes home and helps her mother. Her mother tells her she saw her crying and asks if she loved someone and broke up. The heroine admits yes. Her mother gives her money and tells her to return, rent a comfortable apartment, and work until she saves enough money to study. The heroine promises to do her best. We see the hero lying in bed, holding the glowing owl she gave him. In the morning, her mother takes her to the station, gives her food she prepared, and tells her to call her brother to check the apartment she'll live in. They hug, and the heroine thanks her. She arrives, puts the food in the fridge, and her colleague is happy about her return. They sit and talk, and she asks about her brother. We see her brother out partying, meeting a girl. The heroine, meanwhile, looks for an apartment but can't find anything affordable. She calls her colleague to tell him, and he says he found one for her and takes her to see it. We shift to the hero's father, who goes to the hero's mother, hands her a check, and tells her she must take the hero and leave the country because he fears for him. Back to the heroine, she sees the apartment and likes it very much. She's happy when she learns the rent isn't too high. Her colleague steps out to speak to the landlord, secretly telling him to take only the amount they agreed on and that he'll cover the rest. It turns out the apartment was actually expensive, but the colleague sacrifices for her. The heroine starts arranging the place, happy. She takes her things and goes out to the balcony to erase her photos, all of it so she won't leave any trace of the hero in her life. She says finally, the matter with the hero is over. We move to Lee, who goes up to remove the paper closing the shop and hears the cafe owner talking on the phone, asking someone to get rid of the high school girls any way possible. He tells them he closed the shop and that they'll go crazy because they want the money he promised them. Immediately, Lee realizes who was the one renting out those girls and runs to tell the hero, but he cuts her off and hands her a flyer saying they need a cook. When she sees it, she's surprised because that's the heroine's job, but he ignores her and tells her to just hang it up and get ready for reopening. He doesn't tell her that the heroine won't be working anymore. We move to the hero's mother, who goes to the chameleon's mother and finds out she told her daughter she didn't agree to the engagement or marriage. She says, "Look, madam, I'll just take my son, leave this town, and emigrate." Afterwards, she goes to him, gives him the papers, and tells him they'll leave the country and write to him, but he says he won't leave. Suddenly, the heroine shows up with the cat, leaves it, and goes away. The hero runs after her, telling her not to take the cat. She's confused and says, "You're the one who told me to come get it." Then the cat runs away from them entirely, as if saying, "Spare me this nonsense you're in." They go looking for it, can't find it, then enter and see it playing. The hero tends to her hands because the cat scratched her, and she apologizes for always hurting her. The heroine caresses the cat and leaves, crying in the street. We go to Lee, who decides to take matters into her own hands and gives a flash drive to the employee who works in the cafe, asking her to copy the videos of the young girls. After that, Lee goes to threaten them, saying she'll report to the police and now she has proof. Then she tells the hero what happened and says they must get the cafe owner to compensate them for the time the shop was closed. From his face, she realizes he saw the heroine and is sad, not thinking about anything else. She organizes a little party for the new house, saying if he wants to go, the heroine will surely welcome him. At the heroines, Lee, Song, and the man who always helps her with cooking come with gifts. Meanwhile, the hero is with the chameleon, shopping for an engagement ring. She doesn't like anything, and when he suggests they go eat, she refuses, telling him to leave her alone and she'll go herself. At that same time, the heroine is with the cook, visiting a grave. He tells her it's his daughter's grave and shares his story. He left his country when she was 2, became a famous chef in France, and when she turned 20, she called him, saying she was getting married and needed him. At that time, he had an important cooking competition, so he didn't return. Later, he found out she had an accident and died. He came back only for her funeral and decided never to leave again. He cries, and the heroine is moved, trying to comfort him. He says when she baked him the pie, she reminded him of his daughter. The heroine tells him she felt he was like a father too. He proposes she come with him back to France, that this time he will go with her, she will study and work in his restaurant. The heroine is excited. The heroine tells her colleague everything about the cook, shows him his photo, and he realizes he's a famous chef indeed. She tells him about the offer to study in France and asks his opinion. He tells her to follow her heart. She starts looking into studying in France. She even makes peace with the employee, Hyun, who scammed her before. When she sees her, Hyun runs away, but the heroine chases her until they're both exhausted. The heroine slaps her, and Hyun admits she was scammed too by a man who took everything from her then left with another woman. She cries, saying she'll work and pay her back. We move to the hero, sitting, when the chameleon comes asking him to go out. We see them shopping together. She buys him gifts, they eat, and she says she's so happy with the day. When he suggests going out again, she refuses, saying she won't see him anymore because being with him hurts her. When he denies it, she asks if he loves her, and he's speechless. She says his silence is proof they must break up. She gives him one last hug and says from now on, they'll just be friends, and she won't bother him anymore. She leaves, goes to the heroine's colleague, and tells him she and the hero broke up. He asks if she's okay. She replies, "Of course. I'm rich and beautiful, had a bit of drama, but what could really upset me?" He asks her if the heroine might still want to study abroad, and if she's still thinking of being with the hero. She tells him, "No, I gave up that idea." Later, the cook goes to the bar, finds the hero drunk, and tells him he came to say goodbye before leaving. The hero says goodbye. The cook continues, telling him the heroine is traveling with him. This shocks him. The heroine then leaves her colleague's house with her things for the trip, yells at her brother, telling him he must stay in her apartment, get a job, pay rent, and stop being a burden on her colleague. The hero really does sit with the chameleon, but now she's a kind chameleon, dear viewer. He tells her, "Your hair is beautiful today." She laughs. Now you're telling me I'm beautiful? We're just friends now, dear viewer. She reveals she already told his parents they broke up, she's not traveling, and they won't even sell the grandfather's house. She asks if he told the heroine his true feelings. He says he didn't and never will. The next day, he visits Wagner and they sit together. She apologizes, remembering the day of the accident, and says every time she saw him enduring, she blamed him. The hero breaks down crying. She keeps apologizing, telling him she forgives him and that he must forgive himself too, and that it's time to let his friend rest. The day arrives. The heroine's colleague takes her to the airport. She tells him he's the best friend in the world and asks him to go back to work, not to delay for her. When she arrives, she calls him. The hero wakes up and Lee tells him he's late. He realizes the heroine has left, rushes in his car trying to stop her, wanting to confess his feelings, but she's already entering the airport. The cook is waiting for her. As she walks, she keeps looking around for the hero, but he arrives only after she's boarded the plane. The cook sees she's uneasy and tells her if she regrets it, she can return, but she refuses, saying her decision is final. 6 months later, we see Lee hanging the banner for the 2nd anniversary of the shop. The hero is also visiting the heroine's brother, and it's clear they've grown closer. He brings him a pie. When he enters, the shock for us, dear viewer, is that he finds the heroine waking up startled to see him sitting beside her. She asks, "Why are you here?" He says, "Because this is my home." "What are you doing here?" They go out and sit with her brother, who laughs and says, "What is this? I thought you two would explode with tears, crying about missing each other, and all that drama." He learns that the hero was visiting him every day to check on him, to learn news of her, and to see her photos. The heroine then leaves for a big restaurant. The hero follows her and learns she now works there and won't return to France. He takes her back to his grandfather's house. They talk and they reconcile. The hero's father goes to his mother, gives her a wedding ring, saying he wants her back, and they reconcile too. He keeps begging her to agree, saying, "Oh, ruin me with your romance, man." Meanwhile, the heroine's colleague and the kind chameleon are working together, and it's clear they've grown very close, maybe even in love. The heroine's brother works at the shop, happy. Finally, the hero and heroine agree to marry, and from here, the beautiful drama ends, dear viewer. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's reach 20,000 likes, and don't forget to activate the notification bell so I see you first in the comments. Best greetings to you, beautiful soul.